Friends, today I'm going to talk about what type of real estate I should invest in. The number one question for most people when they get started in real estate is what type of real estate they should invest in. And that's a legit question and one that can have a tricky answer. But don't worry, because throughout this video, I will break down what types of real estate make the most sense for you to begin your investor journey. Or if you're a more seasoned investor, what other methods might make sense to diversify. I'll even give you a strategy you can do right now if you're just beginning that will require little to no money or credit. So as we roll into this video, I want to help you understand what types of real estate investments exist today. I also want to help you understand how your existing skills and passion can play a role in what types of investments that you do. And finally, I want to break down some of the strategies for the more beginner investor, along with some strategies that might be a good way to diversify if you're a little bit more of a seasoned investor. If you're ready, let's go. So let's break real estate down into 4 different categories. So first off, you have residential. Now, when it comes to residential, those are homes, right? Those are where people live. Single family homes, condos, townhomes, but it's places where people call home. And underneath residential is a slew of different strategies from fix and flips, long-term rentals, wholesaling, short-term rentals, lease options, many different strategies exist out there, but it is a great segment because everybody wants to live in a home. And currently in today's market, with the economy the way it is, we don't have an abundant supply of homes. We actually, according to most experts, have a little bit of a shortage when it comes to homes on the market today. The next one is commercial. These are buildings of commerce. These are office spaces. These are RV parks. These are any place where business is conducted. That's commercial real estate. The next one is industrial. These are distribution centers. These are factories. These are warehouses. It's a large segment of the real estate market. Anytime you drive out of any major city and you start to drive, or even inner city, especially when you get like to a waterfront, you're seeing a lot of industrial space, and those are money makers and probably an underserved segment of the real estate market that exists today. I know an individual that is capitalizing on that market big time because it's underserved currently as we speak. And finally, land. This is agricultural, right? This is land development. This is land flipping. This is leasing that property. You know, one interesting thing enough is land. At one point, I owned a fairly large ranch in Southeast Idaho, and a portion of that property was under the CRP program, which stood for the Conservation Reserve Program. The government paid me almost $27,000 a year just to leave the property alone, meaning that I wouldn't grow any crops, house any animals on it. It just needed to stay in its natural habitat. And by leaving it there, the government had programs, conservation reserve programs, to keep the land exactly how it was supposed to be. And they came in like 10-year periods, 10-year contracts, and it was a great way to help me offset the payment for that land. So there are definitely unique things under that segment of land as well. So what do your current skills tell you about which type of real estate you should invest into? And what does your passion tell you about which types of real estate you should invest into? Those are 2 important questions to understand and answer before you make that decision. Real estate is so diverse that there are so many facets, there's so many strategies, so many things you can do that I think it's really important to take a personal inventory of your skills and what you're passionate about in order to find a starting point. Even asking a simple question like, do I like to work with my hands? Am I good at that? You know, one thing in our house, I get teased quite a bit by my friends, but anytime something needs to be fixed, my wife is on Facebook, is there anybody that can fix so-called within our home? My friends will text me and be like, hey, can you not fix that inside your home? I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. So having somebody come in and fix something in our home that I might spend time trying to fix and not get it right is not something I'm interested in. I know my skill set. I know what I'm not good at. But for many people, they're good at that. So understanding that and answering that question is really important when it comes to your starting point as a real estate investor and beginning your journey into real estate investing. If your answer is no to that, the next question to ask, because real estate is so diverse, am I good at technology? Do I understand systems? Do I understand operations? If you do that, there's definitely a place for you in the real estate investing world. And some of you might say, you know what? Yeah, I'm interested in some of those things, but really, I'm just interested in making money. I just want to grow my wealth, and I know real estate can do it. And if that's where you're at, that's fine. That's where I started. I didn't really know what I was good at. I was young. I was, 25, 26 years old when I first started dabbling into real estate. And all I knew is that I was passionate. I knew that real estate could make money. And so what I became really good at is searching for properties, finding deals, and educating myself. And if that's you, that's where you begin. Just to take you back when I first got started, like I said, I didn't know much about it. I didn't have a ton of money to get started in real estate, but I knew I wanted to do it. So I started scouring different areas to find real estate deals. And I looked into an area that I was pretty familiar with, my hometown, and I saw that there was a lot of fourplexes being built in this area. And I approached the individual and said, listen, I would love to buy some of these fourplexes. And I talked to a few partners of mine. These are individuals who had done well, they'd made a little bit of money, and they said, listen, we'd love to invest with you. We were good friends. We'd been friends since college, so I knew these individuals really, really well. And I went to the individual and said, listen, I'd love to buy some fourplexes. They said, well, how many? I said, maybe 6, maybe 8. Because my friend said, hey, we'll buy up to 8 fourplexes. I said, great, let's do that. And then I got a call from him one day. He said, hey, can you come up here and meet with me this next week? And as I drove up there, they said, listen, we're trying to get some additional financing to build the last part of this development. If you could buy 14 of these fourplexes, we can give you a screaming deal on it. He'd already given me a deal for buying 8 when the normal retail price was $275,000. By buying 14, I took the price down from $257,000 down to $245,000 per fourplex, but I had to buy 14. The challenge was my partners only wanted to buy 8, but I did find somebody that I could assign the contract of those 6 additional fourplexes to at $255,000. So I made $10,000 a pop just by assigning that contract to somebody else. That was my first foray into real estate. And all I knew is I was passionate about it. I wanted to get started and I knew I could make money on it. We ended up buying those 8 fourplexes. The gentleman got a great deal at $255,000 per fourplex. That he had 6 of them. Everybody was happy. The person that was building, the developer, they got their money. They were able to finish that last segment of their development. And it was a win-win-win all the way around. Now that you understand what you're good at, where your skill set is, where you can put it to work, obviously understanding your passions is also a big thing. And whether that's making money or not, as I just talked about in my situation, that can also play a role. You know, understanding those things can really lead and direct you into your real estate journey. I've been part of this mastermind for about 3 years, and I met a gentleman who just came into it. And 3 years ago, he was a handyman, and he was just fixing properties for people, just odds and ends. And he started fixing properties, doing some handyman work for an investor that was buying properties. This gentleman would go in, he would kind of remodel the kitchen, he would fix the bathroom, he would change maybe the carpet out for some laminate flooring or some tile or wood, whatever it might be. And he started thinking, oh, I'm doing this for this real estate investor. What if I went out and find the properties and I did this for me? I could utilize my skill set to build this. Currently, he's probably flipping about 2 homes a month, utilizing his skills to do this, and sky's the limits for him. He's had people that he's worked with over time that can now help him, and he can take on more and more projects over time. So that type of skill set and understanding how it plays a role is a big part in understanding which types of real estate you should invest into. And obviously, getting involved in real estate, you got to understand what type of income you want. Do you want a big chunk of change, or are you looking for passive income? Passive income is going to be coming from the rentals, right? It's going to be coming from long-term rents, short-term rentals, co-living, lease options, Airbnb arbitrage. There's a ton of different strategies. But if you're looking to get started where you would like to see monthly money come in every single month, those are the strategies that you should be looking to do. If you're looking at maybe a big chunk of change coming in, that could be wholesaling, fixing and flipping, rehabbing, land flipping, whatever it might be. It can be a great strategy as well. Now, that might take a little bit longer time. Now, that's one thing you don't know when it comes to real estate, right? If you buy this property at this price, are you going to be able to flip that down the road for a large profit? You never know, right? Obviously, if you get a wholesale price or you find a pre-foreclosure or a short sale, chances are that's a really good indication that if you buy it here, you'll be able to turn around and sell it at a certain point in the future for a large lump sum of cash that comes into you. But it's never guaranteed in real estate. You know, I bought a lot. I've actually bought 2 lots. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I had done those deals on those fourplexes and I made the money from assigning those contracts. I took that money, I bought 2 lots in a vacation area for $27,500 each. And about 6 years later, I was actually about 5 years later, I turned around and sold one of those lots for $108,000. So from $27,000 up to $108,000, I made a huge chunk of change just selling a lot. I bought at the absolute right time and sold at the absolute right time. Now, that didn't always happen in my real estate investing career, but that's an example of a large chunk of change that came into me that I was able to deploy in other real estate investments. All right, so the last finale, where should you invest in real estate right now in today's current market conditions? If you are a beginner investor, I love the residential market. It is never going away. There's always a demand. As I mentioned, there is almost a shortage of supply of residences for people to live. Because of that means there's opportunity. Now, the challenge is interest rates are so high, there's probably a lot of people sitting on the sidelines waiting for interest rates to come down to buy some homes or maybe start building homes. However, residential real estate is never going away. And underneath that, you have all sorts of different strategies you can engage in that produce passive income or a big chunk of change. Once again, wholesaling, fixing and flipping, short sales, pre-foreclosures, turning around and selling those for a big chunk of change can fit under this income producing category, or passive income producing properties, residential as well, whether it's long-term rentals, short-term rentals, co-living, lease options, Airbnb arbitrage, a ton of different strategies in that market. One thing that I've seen just recently that have worked really well in certain areas, you got to make sure that the areas allow for this, but is what's called an ADU, or an additional dwelling unit. I've seen people that have bought a home at a good price, maybe fixed it up a little bit, rented it out, and then placed in the backyard and separated it just a little bit with a separate walkway, a tiny home, an additional dwelling unit that's allowed. And by doing so, they're able to rent out on one piece of property 2 different long-term rentals, or potentially short-term rentals, depending on what area that you're in. But an ADU, additional dwelling unit, is something that people have seen work really well to enhance a piece of property with just a tiny home on the exact same property as a home. And if you're a more seasoned investor, I would say storage units is something you should look at. 10 to 15 years ago, I think that the multifamily apartment complex world was like the storage unit is now. It was owned by individuals, families, mom and pops. Institutional money came in, bought them up, and now it's really hard to get long-term rentals. Not impossible, but multi-units is a little bit more challenging. Storage units are that right now. They're owned mostly 50, 60, 70% of them, families, mom and pops. There's a great opportunity to go in and acquire these, fix these up, improve them a little bit, improve management, marketing, and make a killing in that market. So if you're a little bit more seasoned, looking to diversify, that's one thing that I would consider. So these are things that I've seen that I would invest into as a real estate investor. I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are. If you were going to invest in anything right now, what would it be? Please let me know. Leave a comment. Let's engage in a conversation. And as always, just for stopping by and watching the video, I have a free gift for you. It's a short-term vacation rental calculator. You put in all the expenses, the income. It spits out for you whether it's a good deal or not. It will help you analyze your next short-term rental or vacation rental so you can know if it's a good deal or not. And it's absolutely free. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com. And once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.